What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today, I'm here to bring you all a new JoJo Bizarre Adventure anime review. JoJo Day is here, my favorite time of the week besides Sunday, of course, or, you know, Saturday and Sunday. Just Friday, Saturday, Sunday, very fucking good days. Just very good days in terms of content that we get in anime and manga. But JoJo Day, though, is very special to me because I can always expect a very badass episode that keeps me entertained from start to finish, and I feel like each episode is only 5 minutes long. That's exactly what this episode was. I love the action, I love the art, I love the animation, and I love that setup for the next week's episode and the next arc we're getting into. And that's something I want to talk about first. Before I even get into the content that was in this episode and talk about Old Man Joseph, I just want to talk about that final scene of this episode. So, the final scene, I guess, shows us some glimpse at whoever we should expect to be the next baddie of the next arc, and we see this person with a ring on, and, you know, we see like a hand that's been just completely severed off, and it's censored, of course, which, as we know, BD DVDs will completely clear that up when they're released. Usually JoJo, they do that in the TV version, but when the BD DVD releases, it's all cleared up, there's no censors, so that's no problem whatsoever when it came to the censors in this episode. That's something very standard, and I think majority of us watchers of JoJo have grown accustomed to. But, let's talk about that person. So, this person seemed to be very menacing. I mean, I really like the way that the studio, the animators and stuff, were trying to hide whatever he looked like. It makes me curious exactly if we maybe seen this person before. Have we? I'm curious. But, besides that now, getting into the first parts of the episode. Chili Pepper. He gets defeated in this episode. He's finally defeated, and I have to say, I did not expect his design to look like it did. I honestly pictured him as some form of nerdy high school kid. I'm not even joking. I seriously pictured the Chili Pepper, the stand user, his appearance, his outward appearance to look like some form of long-haired, glasses high school student. I'm serious. That's exactly what I imagined when I heard his voice and I heard him talking on the phone with Jotaro. That's what I thought. But apparently not. He loves music. He plays the guitar, and I was just like, damn, that guitar sounds badass. Now, I gotta ask a quick question, okay? Was that guitar song original? Like, was that an original song, or was that taken from something? I'm very curious, because I'm unaware, and I know JoJo really loves doing different, you know, references to bands and stuff. So I'm curious, can any of you Chibits that have been reading JoJo, and you've been with the JoJo series for a very long time, or if you're a music fan, like you're really into music, can you confirm if that was like an original piece that he was saying, or, you know, what he was doing in this episode, or was that something that was being, like, copied from another song and somewhere off in the real world? Could you please let me know in the comments below about that? But anyways, the actual electric guitar, the way he played it, I was just mesmerized by it. That was a really good electric guitar, regardless if it was copied or not. I really like the sound of that, and also I like the way his design really threw me for a loop. I just didn't expect his design to look that badass, especially with how he, you know, he used his stand. Now, speaking of his stand, though, that stand, damn, that was a pretty powerful stand to put Josuke in the spot he was in this episode. Thankfully, Josuke has a little bit of a broken stand because he can, you know, he could fix everything that he breaks, or anything that breaks he could fix back to its original form, and he was able to kind of counter the stand that he was using. So that was a really cool fight to see how Josuke actually uses strategy and tactics to overcome his opponents. He's not just a brawler. He doesn't just go in and he's like, Oda, Oda, Oda. Now, hey, I like that too. I love that about JoJo. I mean, I love Jotaro, what he did in the last season, but he also had a mind. He knew how to think and how to think out plans to overcome his opponents, and that's something I really appreciate from JoJo. I really love how a lot of the fights, even though they look very simplistic sometimes in nature, just looking at it from the outside perspective and just looking at the outside shell of it, it looks like something very simple. Like the overall fight and the way it's done, it just seems so simple. But when you actually look deep enough into it, you realize some of the fights could be rather complex, and some of these fighters, they have really good strategies and tactics to go up against their different opponents. So I really appreciated that when it came to this episode, just seeing Josuke being able to use tactics and strategy to overcome his opponent. That was a really good scene throughout this episode. So, one scene I need to talk about is the Josuke and Old Man Joseph scene. That scene, by far, was the best scene of the episode. Definitely. Easily the best scene of the episode, and the most emotional, because seeing the life of Joseph, just go back or think about part 2, Joseph, okay? Seeing the spunky kid, all that, just being very spunky, kicking ass, and then seeing him in part 3 being a little bit wiser and older and a little bit more mellowed, but he's still the old Joseph. And then you see in this episode, in part 4, Joseph is old, he needs help, he can't fight, you can see he has stages of memory loss and stuff, so it's very sad. It's a really sad scene throughout this episode when you just see how Joseph has aged so considerably over the years throughout the series. And as I've already said, I actually appreciate that. I like seeing a character grow old. I like seeing a character coming of age, you know, getting older throughout the series, not just dying while they're young, just seeing them die of old age. It's just something you do not see, and it really just hits you really hard when you see Joseph, this character that's been a main character for a very long time, in the state he's in, to where he looks very old, he needs a cane to walk, and I mean, he's tripping on himself, like he can't even remember if he's holding a cane or not. It's a very sad sight. But when you see, you know, Josuke actually help him out, and he gives him a hand, and he walks his father away from the boat, that was such a sweet scene. It really was. And you could see how Joseph, even though he's not the same in mind as he once was, he still knows who his family is, and he still cares about them deeply. And you can see how much he cares about Josuke throughout that scene. You can really see in the eyes. Now, I don't know if anyone else felt the exact same way as I did, but when it came to the scene, if you look at the art and animation, just the way the animators worked on that, they worked on that scene. When you see the way his eyes shine and he looks at Josuke and Josuke looks at his father, it was such a brilliant scene. I really love that scene. Probably one of my favorite scenes of this season of anime. I'm not even joking. So, yeah, I think that's a good point to stop with this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.